Now, with the recent State of Play wrapped up, I was about to make a video and sharing my thoughts of what I thought overall of this State of Play. But honestly, I was disappointed, because a lot of games that I was looking forward to didn't exactly genuinely excite me too much, to the point that I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so hyped, I want this game as soon as possible. I did not feel that way. Now, honestly, I had some thoughts regarding few of the games that really were incredible. Pragmata is one, and I'm going to be talking about all about it in this video. Now, as an example, this State of Play as well, just one last thought, is ending it with Ghost of Tsushima and saying that's going to be a State of Play, independent State of Play coming in July. That was just a blue ball moment, like seriously, blue balls moment. But nevertheless, after ending it, a whole State of Play with Marvel's Tokon, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, the Fighting Souls game basically. Yeah, that was a complete disappointment for me, because I'm not really into fighting games, so that's why main reason I was just not that keen on this game anyway. Now, there were a few other titles that I'm genuinely interested, and I'm definitely going to be picking them up in the future, but other than that, this whole State of Play wasn't exactly for me. Let's get back into Pragmata. Now, after more than 2 years of near total silence, Capcom finally showed Pragmata gameplay during the PlayStation State of Play that just recently wrapped up. As gamers worried this project might vanish, I was overjoyed to see real footage and a confirmation of its 2026 release window. In fact, when the trailer dropped, I found myself, well, finally we're seeing it here and now. A little bit disappointed that we'll have to wait a little bit longer for it to release in 2026. I was anticipating perhaps maybe it would be sometime in the later of 2025, but nevertheless it is still good news that we are getting it sooner rather than later. Now, Pragmata first appeared in 2020 with a sleek cinematic trailer that got us quite hyped for a brand new Capcom sci-fi epic. And then, well, silence. After 2020, we've heard absolutely nothing until June of 2023, when Capcom offered vague reassurance that the game was still alive. Articles like Capcom's long-delayed Pragmata gets 2026 release window, highlighting that the fans' growing fears that the project might have actually been quietly cancelled. Every delay announcement felt like another nail in its coffin. That's why June 4, 2025 was quite a relief. Not only did Capcom show off its actual gameplay, but they officially confirmed for its 2026 launch. Suddenly all these sorts of worries they vaporized. From hardcore Capcom devotees to casual sci-fi fans, everyone on social media expressed their relief, seeing as a playable build running smoothly on PlayStation 5, Series X and X, and PC via Steam provided, but that Pragmata isn't dead. It's coming. On schedule, it seems like. Another interesting fact that, at least that this new trailer showed off, is how Pragmata actually plays. Instead of a single protagonist or a simple co-op swap, you control two characters at once. Hugh, the human warrior, and a Diana, basically like a hacking android companion, is not a tag team system. You manage both simultaneously. Hugh handles all the shooting, brawling, and evasive moves. In the trailer, you see him sprinting through narrow corridors, taking cover behind crates, and blasting robotic enemies. Diana rides on Hugh's shoulder or kind of scurries along the walls. Her role is hacking terminals, drones, locked doors, and security systems. And whenever Hugh hits a locked gate or a turret, you switch to Diana to override the tech, then return to Hugh to fight whatever emerges from it. This two-in-one kind of scheme as a strategic ladder. You're constantly juggling combat with hacking, sometimes mid-battle, and the trailer made it look quite fluid, and I personally can't wait to see and how really it works, at least under that kind of pressure when you're playing through the game. Now, regarding a little touch on hacking in Pragmata, first of all, imagine Hugh pinned down by robotic drones, right? You switch to Diana, hack a drone's control node, and turn it against its allies. Suddenly the fight shifts in your own favor. And then there's some parts of the puzzles, like the moon base is full of locked doors, disabled elevators, and power grids needed rerouting. Diana's hacking opens blocked passages, restores power to machinery, or reprograms hazards so you can pass safely. Now, the game encourages you to think like both hacker and a soldier. One moment you're using Hugh's gun, the next you're in a digital interface where Diana rewrites a status code to create a bridge or a kind of maybe disabling a turrets. That mix of tactical hacking and action feels fresh, and I'm eager to see how deep it goes beyond what the trailer already has showed us. Now, Pragmata takes place entirely on the moon, likely a future Earth-Moon base or a distant colony. The visuals lean heavily into a chilly, eerie atmosphere, and of course, like when Hugh steps onto the moon's surface, you see nothing but grey dust, jagged rocks, and communication arrays against a dark sky. The barren landscapes evokes classic sci-fi isolation. And then inside, the claustrophobic corridors and abandoned labs dominate. Flickering lights cast long shadows on scuffed walls, and a broken machinery lies scattered kind of like a tech graveyards. You can almost hear the hum of the malfunctioning generators and the echoes of the footsteps. You know, this cold, dark moon setting does more than look good, it sets a mood. You never know what might be lurking around the next corner, a malfunctioning robot or something worse of the rogue AI that has been programmed. Now, regarding the story, it is pretty simple in terms of its premise. It's perhaps even effective as well. Hugh is a human whose job is keeping Diana safe and handling threats, and Diana is a young robot with serious hacking chops. Her backstory isn't exactly clear yet, but the trailer hints that she's integral to the station's tech. You know, a rogue artificial intelligence has taken over the lunar base. It controls the station's defenses, drones, turrets, sealed doors, and even life supports in some of the sectors. The AI sees humans as a threat and wants them out. It's up to Hugh and Diana to shut down key systems, battle the AI robotic minions, and reclaim the control of the station. And along the way, we'll uncover more about Diana's origins and why the AI went haywire. You know, the trailer doesn't exactly spoil every twist, but it showed enough to pique my curiosity. And what made the AI turn against everyone? Does Diana have a hidden link to it? Will Hugh learn something new about his own past perhaps? You know, these sorts of questions keep me glued to every new update that we learn relating to Pragmata. Okay, one thing I just can't ignore is just how gorgeous Pragmata looks in the trailer. Capcom has clearly pushed next-gen hardware to its limits. Metal floors show scratches, rust, and scuffs marks. Dust particles flow throughout the air vents, panels flickers, revealing steamy pipes and exposing kind of these wiring. And then dynamic lighting beeves rooms in eerie hues, cold blues, harsh reds, and the soft glow of the holographic screens. Outside, bright sunlight slashes across the lunar landscapes, creating a deep shadows. You know, Hugh's armor is actually quite detailed, with dents and grime indicating rough battles. Diana's design blends sleek metal limbs with the small transparent sections, showing her inner kind of a circuitry. In close-ups, you can see subtle reflections on her kind of synthetic kind of face as well. You know, in short, Pragmata looks like a sci-fi movie you can play, and it's quite rare to see such a polished environments paired with unique gameplay mechanics. Now, if Capcom sustains this level of detail throughout the full playthrough, especially when both characters, enemy swarms, and environmental hazards all converge, I think we'll have a truly next-generation experience. Now, June 2020, right? It was the reveal trailer during the Sony showcase. Just plenty of type of hype that you can expect out of this game, and man, everyone was looking forward to it. It was also, I believe, was revealed that the game was supposed to be coming out back then, at least in 2022. But anyway, in 2021 and to 2022, very little concrete info and rumors swirls about the development troubles regarding this game. And sometime during that year, actually, we received that yet again this game is getting delayed from 2022 to 2023, I believe. And then come June 2023, Capcom drops a brief update, no new gameplay, just the word that the project is still alive. And finally, just as recent State of Play, it delivers a real gameplay and it nails down a 2026 release window. And even a little kind of a nod towards saying it's real. Still is a question, is it though? That's not exactly uncommon in game development, but for a title with so much potential, the silence felt worrisome. Capcom even poked fun at themselves with a goofy apology card in the trailer. They crossed out 2022 and 2023, then wrote 2026 in big letters, like already mentioned. Fans love that kind of touch. Having seen many delayed games, it is quite refreshing to see a company laugh at its own setbacks. It shows Capcom is committed to getting Pragmata right, even if it took far longer than was even planned. Now, once the trailer dropped, social media buzzed with relief and excitement. Even I've, in fact, gotten a lot of comments from a lot of people on my older videos relating to Pragmata and just kind of raising the question, where in the world is it? It's been already 2 years since we last heard about this game. And I'm finally starting to see quite a lot of comments popping up and saying, finally, it is time, it is here, and it's coming sooner rather than later. You know, gamers praise the sci-fi visuals, comparing the moon based to kind of like a Bioshock atmosphere, maybe even Dead Space tension, and hype the dual character mechanic as well. You know, the playful apology card inspired memes about cross-out dates, and many appreciated Capcom's sense of humor regarding the delays that really actually made it easier to deal with this anyway. But however, some weren't exactly thrilled with this. Is important for me to mention. It's a little bit odd. At least I felt about that in some regards, but I did definitely notice that some people mentioned it. That Diana's English voice acting suggests that they're switching to Japanese track or hope for tweaks before launch. It's odd because it seems like it's a grown woman tries to be a little girl. And maybe that's exactly what they did, at least as of the recording of this video. I do not know who is the voice actress for Diana. But nevertheless, it's, I think I can grow with it, it's no problem for me, but I can see why people could be a little bit hesitant about that part. Overall though, the positive feedback and far outweighed the minor gripes, confirming most fans believe the long wait was worth it. I wanted to actually touch on regarding the things I'm watching out for, at least that I'm curious about. For example, we would need to see an extended footage showing how smoothly controlling Hugh and Diana together works in real scenarios. Will there be something like a co-op option, or two-player can each handle one character? Can Diana act semi-independently when Hugh takes cover? Short narrative teasers or developer diaries explaining why the AI went rogue, how Diana came to an existence, and Hugh's backstory would fill lore gaps and build more hype, perhaps. And of course, since Pragmata hits Steam, PC fans will want information on specs, frame rates, and graphic settings. A demo or a benchmark tool before the launch could avoid last-minute headaches. And then showcasing a full mission scenarios like maybe infiltrating a turret-filled hangar or racing to restore life support would actually set realistic expectations for the gameplay depth. And perhaps maybe one last thing, behind the scenes video on level design, environmental art, and how Capcom tackled real-time dual character control would reassure fans that any remaining kinks are being ironed out. Until then, we can just have to wait, right? And trust that Capcom will drip feed information to maintain hype. Given their pace so far, I expect at least 2 more major trailers before Pragmata's 2026 launch, each answering lingering questions and keeping fans engaged. After years of is this even real speculation, seeing Pragmata back in action was a massive relief. The sleek sci-fi aesthetic, the cold lunar base, and that unique hack and shoot kind of dynamic gave me confidence that it isn't just like a half-baked project. Sure, there are minor concerns, Diana's voice as an example, but those just feel small compared to the excitement of knowing Pragmata is actually alive and kicking. The 2026 year window matters because it finally puts to rest doubts that the game would vanish under delays, but it seems like that's not the case. For now, all we can do, unfortunately as usual, we'll just have to wait for Capcom polish Pragmata, dual character controls, nails down its final story beats, and of course if you're a gamer who loves futuristic worlds and innovative gameplay, this may be one of the titles that you do not want to miss. But nevertheless, that's all I want to have a little bit of a chat for today. Thank you so much for watching, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys all and have a wonderful day.